In this video, I'd like to give you a brief introduction to a new plugin we've been working on for Google SketchUp. It kind of combines some plugins we've written in the past, or enhances and hopefully replaces the plugins written in the past, and also adds some new features. So if I, for example, select this dynamic component, with SketchUp non-pro, you can maintain the basic variables or attributes, define that. So if we go look at our plugin, so we can see the basic information about the dynamic component, but we've also added the dynamic attributes and also the other attributes that are on attached to this component. So if we want to have attributes we want to use that aren't always in the dynamic attributes library, we can put them in additional libraries. Also, we've added the ability to see all attributes. So now these are the hidden attributes that we may want to work with, and that would give us the ability up here. We can edit and add additional attributes to the dynamic attribute dictionary or to other attribute dictionaries. Up here we've added the information you'd see in the entity window, layer, name, things like that. We also added a refresh, so it refreshes the dynamic component, recalculates the formulas. And then a feature that we're still debugging is the ability to, once you have an entity or component that you like the attributes and have the formulas and values, you can then save them as a template and then apply them, which is basically a text file of predefined attributes, formulas, list options, things like that. That helps speed up the creation of components, so you don't have to retype it in every time, and also makes it much more consistent, which will help us when we want to do some of the reporting features I'll show you later in the video, which I guess we'll get to now. So if we go to the toolbox here, these are a setup of functions that can either be, in this case, these are SketchUp functions, so these are Ruby functions, and you can add your own. It's just a JavaScript file that defines this tree. And then we also have links to OpenOffice, which is an open source product that contains spreadsheets and a database called Base, which has reporting and data forms. So we've written an extension for OpenOffice that reads the data and makes it available inside that product. So let's start off and let's rebuild the external data. And on a file this size, it takes probably 30 seconds. So I may end up editing it out of the video, depending how long I run. But we still need to add error trapping and probably add some information down here on the progress of it exporting, so you know it's working and not failing. Hopefully it'll be done here soon, and then I can show you the data over inside OpenOffice. Okay, so now we're done, and we'll go over here and open up our first data form, which are just the entity records, which are components, faces, groups, things that have attributes assigned to them are exported. The first time it runs, it takes a little while to load the first form. There we go. So now we have a form that's showing a data grid of the entity records. So we exported out 1,028 entities that had attributes dictionaries assigned to them, or attributes. And we can see dynamic components, groups, surfaces, faces, and so things we export out. So if we can find the cabinets, and they'll be at a level 0. Okay, so, and we have some appliances, see the fridge, microwave. But here's the entity ID that's inside SketchUp. This tells me the parent is the model. So this other parent would start creating a bill of material structure and the level they're at. Whether they're visible, the type they are, entity name, definition, quantity. On faces and surfaces, we put the area in here, groups, volumes, and then we have the size, and it's in millimeters because that's the units we're working on in the model. Layer, and then some of the dynamic components would have information such as name, description, and item code. Then for each one of these entities, we can then look at the attributes. So here's the entity ID, and then we have not only the dictionary, but we've added an additional group because we wanted the ability to break a dictionary into subcategories on the tabs when we were working with the component. So all the dynamic attributes in that don't have to be shown at one time. We've also added a sort code so that we could sort the attributes in a sequence we liked versus the naming of the attribute. But you can see some of the stuff that's built into SketchUp, like the label, the form label, formulas, and then attribute value, which inside SketchUp it's stored in inches, but we're displaying it in metric, so we have millimeters here. We may find some list access, which we would see let's see if we can find a list one to show you the option values. Don't want to run out of time on my video. I want to show you the reports and the report writer inside OpenOffice. Oops. So there's a list, so we can see the option values and the text that it's displaying. So I'll close those forms down, and then you can also create forms that are a little more elaborate with subforms in OpenOffice. And we're trying to work on speeding up the opening of OpenOffice from SketchUp. But it depends on the size of the data and number of attributes. But here's the form. So now we have this custom form, which I've included the image of the parent and some basic information about that, which works really good for cabinets, but you could do a custom form for whatever basically types of entities you're working with in SketchUp. And so now we have the information about the cabinet and then all the parts that go into it. And this is why it's kind of important to have consistent attribute records, because then it becomes a database. And it's information that's common, so you can use it more easily in forms. And also, let's show you a report. And so here's a report that's inside OpenOffice. It has images. So this will probably take the longest to open. Not that I have the fastest computer running here. And after I show you this report, I'll open up OpenOffice, and at least I'll have time to show you the report builder and the extension. Okay, so here's a report. And we have images and we have some basic information about that, and we could export it to PDF or print it. And the little time I have left, let me open up OpenOffice, and basically there's a database call it sketch data, and here's the tables. The entities and the attributes, and we actually have a bill of material structure. And then we have reports, and so you have a report writer in here, and this is where we have the image and the fields, and you can move things around and you can drag additional fields. It's a pretty decent report writer, certainly not as sophisticated as others, but it's a open source free program, so that's not bad. And what we've done is basically, if you look at it, OpenOffice has what's called extensions, and we've created a sketch data extension, which gives us functions to link the data that we're taking out of SketchUp into this OpenOffice base. Anyways, I'm not sure when we'll release this. We're going to do some more debugging and add error trapping and some more bells and whistles. But I wanted to give you a brief introduction, and thank you for watching this video.